Hey everybody, welcome back here to another video. We're going to be doing some battles with Nerd, a really good player in my Go Stadium lobby. We're doing a freestyle match, and this is the final round of the final freestyle tournament. So normally every month in Go Stadium they do the themed cup and the freestyle. This is the last freestyle, so and it does count towards lobby standings. So it's pretty important if you want to like move up in the ladder and face lobbies with like super crazy good people. Like everyone's already good in this lobby, so I don't even know what happens if you advance up again. It's just like I don't know, full of ace trainers or something. So regardless, I'd like to do well. I'd like to move up, friend up with some increasingly better players. I'm sure Nerd's probably going to move up as well. So yeah, so I have taken some time to kind of check out this team a little bit in advance and build some lines that I think are cool. I just wanted to discuss them before we even do the battle video. So my thoughts on this team are overall, it looks like Umbreon and Metacham just don't seem super valuable for him. They just don't seem that valuable. Azumarill actually looks very strong. I have two that beat it. Well, so I have Meganium, which ties it. I have Azumarill, Meganium beats it. Azumarill ties it, kinda, because it's the same. And then Toxicroak is weird. Like, Azumarill can pressure it with Ice Beams or Play Roughs, and Toxicroak has to toss Sludge Bombs, or basically do almost nothing to it. So if the Azumarill switches in, Toxicroak has a hard time dealing with that. Meganium's the only one that can really pull that off consistently. And then everyone else just, like, loses to it. So, I kind of expect an Azumarill safe switch, but I also feel like switching in a Melmetal, getting an energy lead, I think that's going to be a Melmetal with Superpower and Rock Slide. Superpower is going to help deal with some of the like Bastiodon weaknesses of his team. So it's like I have to ask myself, what is this team weak against, and that informs me pretty well about what movesets he's running. So like I don't think there's an Ice Beam on an Azumarill because I don't think there's a huge grass weakness. His team has a huge grass weakness. Like it's decent, but it's not overbearingly so. And then, yeah, so the Melmetal I think can switch in and do well. But the thing is, with Melmetal running Superpower, it actually is more preferred to be a lead. Throw a couple of Superpowers, which debuff you. They drop your, I think, defense and attack down by 1 each, and then you swap out, and you come back in later, and the buffs are cleared. The debuffs are cleared. So ideally, you want to always give Melmetal a way to leave. So leading with Melmetal is the way you do that. So here, I actually expect a Melmetal lead. I expect an Azumarill safe switch. Another good safe switch is actually Haunter. I don't have a lot of things that deal well with Haunter if it has an energy lead. It can beat most of my stuff in the 2-shield, so except for Bastiodon. And I really don't want to run Bastiodon because Melmetal and Azumarill can both destroy it. And I think Melmetal and Azumarill are really good here. So I'm putting my opponent on Melmetal Azumarill. And then what defends that really well? It's Tropius. Excuse me there. Tropius can take out the Toxicroak. Tropius can take out the Meganium, if the Meganium's in there. So, like, it's just a really good bodyguard for those guys. So I expect Melmetal, safe swap Azu with Tropius. Now, I don't recommend that you guys actually try and predict all 3 Pokemon on the enemy team unless you have, like, a really strong sense of what your opponent might be running, or if you have a lot of time to kind of go over it. So I've had a lot of time. Like, I haven't really, like, jumped around in the simulations or anything, but I'm just kind of staring at the team and just kind of feeling things, like, sort of wink out. Like, Metacham just kind of, like, winked out, and Umbreon just kind of winked out. Like, I was just like, they just don't feel good. I don't know why he would run them. So a lot of times the really strong thing to do is ask yourself, what would my opponent run? So this video is going to be about that, or is about that. So I think that's just a really helpful thing in Freestyle, because Freestyle has so many weird matchups. It's not like a themed cup where, like, all 6 guys are good against all 6 of your guys. Like, you can make balanced teams like that. But in Freestyle, no. They can still be balanced, but there's still some clear, like, stinkers that you don't really want to run. So, anyways, basically, I now want to choose between the most likely leads, what is my best counter? What is my best option? And also, between the likely stuff that he has on his team, what is the best safe swap? In general, I actually think against his team that Toxicroak is a very good safe swap. It's not exactly entirely safe, but what I mean by safe swap is it starts to flip its matchups when it has more energy. So if Toxicroak comes in and gets a few counters off before like Haunter comes in, then I'm just dropping mud bombs on that thing. And it really can't deal with that. Melmetal, same thing. Azumarill, I'm actually going to be ahead of it in energy, so this weird sludge bomb, like if I don't sludge bomb you, then you have a million HP, like problem, kind of goes away. Azumarill would have to commit like probably 2 shields to that or something. I don't know. It would be hard. Tropius is probably the best answer to that, as well as Medicham. Medicham doesn't have any... I'm not super effective against Medicham. And Tropius can just kill me with fast moves eventually. Like, probably block 1 to 2 sludge bombs and just kill me. And then Umbreon just dies. I don't think Umbreon's coming into this game. I'm just going to be honest. So, Toxicroak safe swap is actually very good, right? So, changes up a lot of... there he is. I told him I'd be ready in about 10 minutes or so, just because I wanted to explain what was going on in my thought process. Because I think it's kind of interesting to do like a really big deep dive on like a team you don't often get to. And so I was starting to uncover a lot of interesting connections that I wanted to share. So, right. So Toxicroak, safe swap. We're going to plan to safe swap Toxicroak if we need to, but we're also going to plan to not lose the lead. How do we do that? Well, the best way is to go with I think, a Alolan Marowak. Because if there's going to be a lead, I expect it to be Tropius or Melmetal. I think Melmetal lead is very obvious. Like, I think it's very like, oh yeah, he has superpower, so like he wants to clear the debuffs and stuff. So like I think a lot of good players, Nerd is a good player, would assume, okay, he thinks I'm going to be running Melmetal. He's going to run something good against Melmetal. Like Meganium. Or Toxicroak. Or Alolan Marowak. So, 2 out of the 3 of those are blocked by Tropius, if Tropius leads, right? So I think that's actually pretty sick. That's a pretty sick lead as well. So I want the Alolan Marowak to basically stop the 2 most promising leads that he might have. Now, can he lead Haunter and just wreck me? Yeah, totally. He could totally lead Haunter and just wreck me. That would suck, but it is what it is. So we're going to assume some conventional play. A little bit conventional, and we're just going to put him on the Melmetal or Tropius. We're going to bring the Alolan Marowak. In the back, we're going to have Toxicroak as that safe swap like we talked about. And then we also have a problem. We have an Azumarill problem. Yeah. So, Azumarill. If he swaps into Azumarill, we were already talking about Azumarill being a good safe swap. And I don't really have any way to deal with it. And if I lose that, right? If I lose that second swap in, if we both swap and we're on cooldown, and I kill and I die to the Azumarill, then whoever comes in on my side faints down the Azumarill, and then he brings in the perfect counter, whatever that is. So if it's like my own Azumarill, he brings in the Tropius, or whatever, right? So it's generally not good for us. And so what we want to do then is we would like to opt to win that match if possible. If we bring our own Azumarill in, it answers it, but it doesn't really beat it. Like, if he drops 2 shields into his, and I drop 2 shields into mine, it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong way to just kind of, like, win that mirror. And I also think it's just really obvious I'm going to be bringing in Azumarill. However, there's another possibility where I just bring Meganium and just say, you know what? Safe swap to Azumarill. I'm bringing Meganium. And we're going to go. We're just going to, like, drive it home, right? Completely wreck the Azumarill. Then whoever comes in kind of farms it down, Tropius or something, and then we toss out the Marowak, and then they swap to Melmetal, and then Toxicroak comes in. So, overall, pretty good. So I really like that. And here you can kind of see where my team I'm kind of like building teams in advance. So you can see remote number 1 is that line. Now I also think that I could put Azumarill here. So like we could actually go down and make another team. And let's just do it. Let's just do it real quick. Let's go make... Because I'm not entirely sold on if Azumarill is bad as an answer to his Azumarill. Because the weird thing about Azumarill fights is they take forever. So you can actually like get off the switch cooldown by the time that happens. So like you're literally fighting so long that both people can now switch out of Azumarill if they want. And a really good idea is to swap back into Marowak, right? When the 2 Azumarills are low, if they're like double shielding or something. Like I'm gonna double shield mine. So if he double shields his, then he has an energy lead on me because he swapped in first. So he'll technically take it. Like he'll technically beat me in the 2 shield. He'll beat me to the final play rough that kills me. And my thought is just swap in a Marowak and catch it. You know, just like swap the Marowak in, catch the play rough, and then that way I don't have as big of a liability in the Meganium. Because let's say I don't predict this perfectly, then I'm actually going to be really sad. Like if it's a Haunter lead, Azumarill safe swap is probably the only thing that saves me there. Meganium will not. Meganium won't. Meganium will just die to something. Like it'll just die to a Tropius answer. Whereas Azumarill can threaten a Tropius a little bit more, and then the Marowak can come in and farm, and then there's Bone Clubs and decent things like that. Like, so I don't know. That's why I'm on the fence about that one. Now, I also decided to make a second team as well. So this is basically for game 2, or this is for like, what if my opponent switches, right? What if they react to the Marowak? What can they bring? Well, they can bring Umbreon, Haunter. Let's see. Maybe... No, that's really not... I mean, maybe Azumarill. And so what I was thinking is, alright, let's bring the Bastiodon. Bastiodon lead. It's not great. It's not great. It is not... But I'm really putting him off the Metacham. I'm like, I don't think Metacham's coming in. So I think Bastiodon's going to be able to do some work. Now, granted, if he leads Melmetal again, I'm screwed. Because Superpower will just wreck you. So you have to kind of ask the question, like, if I face Melmetal... So let's say I win game 1, and I'm going for a win on game 2. And I switch. He can decide, stay in, like, keep the same team, identical lead, Melmetal again, right? So that's the danger of switching, is what if your opponent doesn't? So you tend to want to have a contingency about what happens if my opponent doesn't. There's a good chance they won't. So what can I do with that? Well, if he keeps the Melmetal and I have Bastiodon, then my best option is to probably switch out before the Superpower hits me. And that is what I have planned right here. This is Azumarill. So I'm going to catch the Superpower with Azumarill. It's going to be resisted because it's a Fairy type. Now, what if he leads Azumarill? Could also lead Azumarill to beat the Alolan Marowak. I think that's the most likely choice, is to say, whoa, okay, my Azumarill doesn't lose most matchups as long as I get it in a favorable position, probably by a lead. Like if I don't lead Meganium, then Azumarill's gonna like do some good work against me. And so, in that case, then my worst case scenario plan is to catch the Hydro Pump with Azumarill. So I'm still doing the same thing. I'm resisting the most likely move against Bastiodon in both cases, with a switch. And I think that's really good. I think it's really strong. And then I take some damage, but not a lot, because it's resisted. And then I assume the Tropius comes in, and it has, like, a decent time farming me down. So then I come in with my Bastiodon. I farm it back, right? I farm it again. And I just fast move it down. The Tropius throws a bunch of Charzus at me. They hurt, but not too much. And then lastly, I have like a fully charged Bastiodon for either an Azumarill or Melmetal or something, and I'm just like tossing charge moves at it. And then I come in with the Meganium at the end to hopefully try and threaten both and kill them. So that's kind of the plan there. And then if Bastiodon gets a favorable lead, then he gets a favorable lead. Sounds good, you know? And then probably there's a swap into like Azumarill or something, and then I swap into Meganium and I do the same thing I did in game 1. So that is the plan. Those are kind of the two-ish teams that I have ready to... Well, 2 variations on the first team, and then 1, which I even put in parentheses, catch, because I want to try and catch a charge move. And then for game 3, I'll probably just use something similar along these lines, or I'll just react to like the first 2 games. Like, by the time 2 games have gone by, I'll have a lot of data into like how his playstyle works, and I'll be able to know how to counter it. So, yeah, I'm gonna make this like part 1, and then part 2 is coming up right now. So I'll plug you guys into that. All right, welcome back. Hey, here is part 2 of the team selection deep dive video. We're gonna go ahead and see how it works. So first and foremost, we're going to want to decide how good are our prediction skills. Do we definitely predict the Azumarill as a safe switch, or is that too predictable? Just by the way, like Azumarill is often the safe switch for for freestyle. So what do we think? Also, Meganium into a Vine Whip into an Ice Beam Azumarill is like actually kind of not the best. So, or do we just run an Azumarill of our own? What do we think here? I'm kind of feeling like I have some counterplays with the double Azumarill like Mirror, and then eventually catching the Play Rough, swapping to the Marowak, and probably having to deal with. Like, I think it'll be fine. I think we're gonna go with this one. It's just a little bit more flexible. And so I'm actually pretty confident I could have had a easier win with my Meganium in the back. Okay, we were wrong about a lot of stuff. Cool. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we're just going to get our Azumarill out. Here comes a Tropius. Okay, yep. It's Air Slash Tropius. Interesting. Okay. I could shield here, which makes it seem more likely that I have an Ice Beam. I have a decent amount of energy, though, coming into this. The trouble is, he's probably going to take it. Yep. And then I actually just don't want to throw another move. I just really want to get hit by a Leaf Blade. As quickly as possible. Okay, awesome. The reason I didn't want to throw another move is because I don't want to get Tropius very low. Because then Marowak can't farm as much. And also, because people oftentimes go, wow, there's a lot of energy on this dude. If I throw this move and kill him, then I get rid of all his energy. That's awesome. That's good. So in this case, I want the Tropius to spend its energy so it doesn't hurt the Marowak as much. This is probably going to be an Aerial Ace. I'm not going to shield. It's a Leaf Blade. Okay, we're going to resist that. Nice. Very cool. The most awkward thing is this Azumarill coming back in. It's just so awkward, guys. Okay, we're just going to start chucking Shadow Balls out. I don't know if there's going to be a shield here on this. The interesting thing is these bubbles are what the fuck? God, come on. Sorry, my phone is lagging so much that it actually like cannot deal. So this could be a, I don't know what this is. Oh, it's an Ice Beam. That's so interesting. Okay. Huh. And there's the Melmetal. There it is. We are going to shield. And this Toxicroak is going to go to town. We're actually not going to want to do a whole lot of stuff here. Maybe a little bit more on the Mud Bomb. Maybe like a couple more bubbles. So we actually want to farm this guy down here. We just don't want to get hit with another charge move. There we go. It's probably an Ice Beam. Okay. I think we might actually just be able to go double Sludge Bomb. It's possible. Or maybe our switch timer is on. Ooh, nice. He just thought we were going for the bait. He just thought like, he's probably going for the bait here. Because he needs to bait once and then hit the Sludge Bomb. And there was a very decent chance that the Azumarill could... yeah, I don't know. Hard to explain exactly what I'm thinking, but there's a chance that I can't actually get through that shield with Sludge Bomb and then also another Sludge Bomb. So he might beat me to the second Sludge Bomb if I go double bomb. Double Sludge instead of Mud and then Sludge. So the choice there is... I feel like I won't make it, so I'm gonna throw the Mud Bomb, is what he's thinking. And it was very likely that I probably wouldn't make it. So there was interesting. He led Azumarill. Very interesting lead. Now, we actually had a contingency plan in place for leading an Azumarill. And it was this team. And then we get the Tropius. We killed the Tropius. We get the Tropius out with the Azumarill switch. We kill the Tropius with the Bastiodon. And then we have the Meganium in the back to clean up, which is kind of what Toxicroak did last game. So let's try it. So we're going to use our second lineup here and see what happens. I have like no idea what he's going to lead. I have like no idea. Azumarill again. Okay, cool. I actually don't know how many moves it is till Hydro Pump. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's the Tropius. No problem. Okay, here comes the Leaf Blade, nice and quick. So the Azumarill has a decent amount of energy on it, that's for sure. And we know that. So we're going to toss this Play Rough pretty late into the farming. And then we're going to do the same thing as last time. We're just not going to throw. Yep, there we go. We got it. We got that Leaf Blade. So we didn't want the Tropius to keep hitting us and then go for like even more energy to use against our Bastiodon. We want our Bastiodon to be pretty healthy here. So let's get this out quick. And we're just going to farm down. We can get we can probably get right around 100 energy by the time the Tropius dies. And we wanted to get out there quick because of the switch timer down in the bottom. You can see. Okay, beautiful. No switch out. And boom, dead. All right, cool. Now, we're just going to spam. I think we're just going to spam. No, we're not going to spam Stone Edge. It could be a Melmetal Lancer. Okay, we're going to Stone Edge. This could be a Play Rough. I'm actually okay with it being... Oh, fuck. I fucking lost 100 energy. Shit. No! Melmetal, huh? Okay, sure. Rock Slide. I'm going to have to start blocking all charge moves from here on out. I really thought that might have been a Play Rough bait. If I go triple Quake, triple Earthquake, what happens? I think I'm going to throw the next Frenzy Plant here. I think he doesn't want his Azumarill to try and finish me off. I think he wants this Melmetal to do it. Yeah, there's the second shield. Cool. We called that, at least. That was pretty important. Okay, now there's a pretty dangerous amount of energy on this Melmetal. So I don't have the luxury of farming it too much. To go like 1, 2. If I was spamming Earthquake there, I would have got it. The problem is, there's no telling if my immediate Earthquake there. Who cares about the weather? Why is it telling me? There's no telling there if the immediate Earthquake was. It would clear the Melmetal, sure. But then I'd have to race the Azumarill to another charge move, and I'm not sure if I could. He could just play rough or Hydro Pump, anything really. So, yeah. The tricky thing there on that Bastiodon was, is he actually going to go for the Hydro Pump, or is he going to go for the bait? I think he thought I had maybe a Toxicroak in the back, at which point clearing the Bastiodon just would have been the best bet there. And I also forgot, I probably wasn't keeping in mind that he had a Melmetal in the back. And so because there's a Melmetal in the back, Melmetal is scared of 100 energy on Bastiodon. So he doesn't want the Bastiodon to beat the Azumarill. So he just doesn't want to take chances, and he just wants to make sure that the Bastiodon dies. So I think thinking back on that, it was actually pretty obvious that he was going to toss the Hydro Pump. And then I could have thrown at least 2 Stone Edges there, and then still came in with the Meganium to clean up that match. So I'm actually just going to go ahead. What's interesting is if I do the same play as last time. Do we feel there's a third Azumarill lead here? And if so, like, let's say there's a third Azumarill lead. And I go Meganium lead. What happens? He can swap into Tropius or... Yeah, probably just Tropius. And then I just swap into Marowak, I guess. What is the problem with Meganium lead here? If he leads Tropius? Yeah, if he leads Tropius. That would be the problem. Or Haunter. I think I'm just going to roll with the same team as last time. People usually don't expect that. So if you win, and then... So I won the first game. And then on the second game, I switched teams, which is kind of strange. Sometimes when you win, you want to keep it. So it's unexpected for me to play the team that lost. Let's put it that way. Yes. So he probably thought there's no way he's going to lead Bastiodon again. And this Haunter, we're just going to smash him for a bit. Let me expect the Azu. There it is. Azu is the safe swap. Azu is the man for the safe swaps. He's the man. Okay, if this is an Ice Beam, it hurts but doesn't kill. I'm just going to block it. Okay. So it's Ice Beam Hydro Pump. Very interesting. Okay, and we're like pretty close to 2 here. So we're going to get both out. I'm firing my charge moves pretty optimally. You want to fire towards the end of his fast move, his bubble, not at the beginning of it. There's me a Haunter kind of farming this down here. The Frenzy Plant's actually still very punishing. This is probably just going to be a Shadow Ball just to get rid of me. And then I'll bring out the... Oh, it's a Shadow Punch. Okay. Oh, yep. I wasn't going to shield that anyways. That's fine. You can spend all your energy. That's cool. Yeah, Haunter always wins CMP ties, guys. Every time. No matter what. I was tempted there to block and then throw the Frenzy Plant, forcing another shield. But I figured I can just come in with the Bastiodon and farm it down. I, like, literally don't care what this Haunter has. I literally just don't. Just, like, throw whatever you want at me. This is going to be a Shadow Ball. It's also possible I just block here? Yeah, maybe I just block. It does hurt. Like, Haunter's charge moves probably hurts more than most people's. Unless it's a fighting charge move. it's a Tropius. He really, so, God. I don't even need the Azu at all. Oh my God. That's amazing. I love it. Okay. So, I just want to reemphasize how weird it was for me to select my losing team. So let me talk a little bit about some psychology here that I think is kind of important. Not that I'm like a master in psychology or anything. Okay, I'm just missing bubbles here. The game's pretty much in the bag, guys. Like, that's kind of what yeah. Like, there's not a whole lot this Tropius can do. Poor Tropius. I don't even think he gets rid of the Bastion with this move. Okay. So, let me try and frame that a little bit better. So, first game I win, right? Many people, after winning, keep their same team. That is psychologically likely. If you want to know a little bit more about Pokemon psychology, you should look into the psychology of rock, paper, scissors. Literally go Google that. Like, go open up a browser tab and type in the psychology of rock, paper, scissors. There's a Psychology Today article about it, and they go into like a lot of things. They've done studies on rock, paper, scissors, and Pokemon is a rock, paper, scissors, guys. So, especially with leads, right? What do you lead with? And then the psychology of rock, paper, scissors changes over time. So as you do more rounds, people's psychology changes. So, okay. So, that being said, I win game one. The psychology for rock, paper, scissors is to usually keep the same thing when throwing again. That tends to be like a pretty conservative thing, is to just like try the same thing again. It worked the first time, right? So people often do that. So, I didn't. I switched. Which kind of paints a story about me, which is like, oh, he's kind of a guy that switches. Because sometimes my opponents just keep the same thing. Like, Nerd, for instance, lost game one and then kept the same lead for game two. Interesting, right? You would think maybe switching is what you would want to do for that. Maybe switching is a good idea. What if my opponent, switches as well? So that being said, I go in with this Bastiodon thing, right, for game two, and I lose. An overwhelming amount of people that win game one, switch, and lose game two are like, okay, that was dumb. I'm going to go back to the winning formula for game three. And then you saw the Haunter lead. I figured Haunter might actually come in to oppose my Alolan Marowak, because it, like, crushes it. It, like, crushes that dude. So his team was significantly built around predicting my Alolan Marowak coming in, and I think he had a very, very good reason to do that. Like, that was actually a really good call on his part. And so, I just decided the only way I think I win this game is if I go back in versus maybe he goes Azu 3 straight games. Some people do that, and it's actually totally good, and it totally works. Maybe he goes Azu 3 straight games, and I lose lead 3 straight games. I felt like game 2 I actually probably could have won it if I just tossed a little bit more energy on my Bastiodon. And so I went with it. I was like, you know what? Even if he gives the same formula, I think my chances of winning are okay. I think my strategy for like how to do that is like all right. And then if he thinks I'm going back to team number 1, then he's totally screwed. Because Bastiodon kills most things. Like if we go look at the teams real quick, Bastiodon kills most things that would kill Marowak. Bastiodon kills the Umbreon and the Haunter. Like no problem. So it's only really the Azumarill lead, which I was prepared for. So I think in that case, there's a lot of risk taking, but it's like calculated risk taking. And so the thing that you want to do, like that I was showing in part 1 of the video, is you want to try and figure out what are the most likely things I'm going to see. And I thought for sure like Tropius and Azumarill are probably going to show up every game, and they pretty much did. I also thought Melmetal was very likely in most games. So I kind of just sniffed out the three that seemed the best, right? I just put myself in my opponent's shoes and I was like, what would I want to use? And so that can really help you govern your own things, because then you don't have to worry about 6 things, because you can think statistically this seems likely. Like, I'm going to put more weight into respecting those 3 picks than I am the Haunter, Metacham, and Umbreon. I'm going to put more stock into that. So when I have like a tough decision to make, like, oh, do I pick this or this? I'm going to lean towards something that's good against those 3. That's what I'm going to do. And then if I'm wrong, then I just reconsider. Like, if my opponent, like, against worse players, so like if I was against like a trainer or like a low-rated rival or something like that, like Nerd's really good. But let's just say that I'm against like a player that's not great, maybe in like an early round of a tournament or something like that. No offense to bad players, by the way. Like, literally zero. Y'all are awesome. I'm so glad that you come out and make these tournaments like super great, and like losing to people like super low rated is like awesome. It's just super cool. It's just a fun, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like cocky or anything here or whatever. I'm just saying, like, if you can identify kind of what bracket of skill or experience or familiarity your opponent is in, you can actually use that as a predictive model too. So if you take like a lower level player, they might not actually think of a lot of this. They may just have some lines of 3 that they just feel really good about. And so they also might use Pokemon that are like not great against your team. Like the Umbreon didn't seem that great against my team. Like Meganium, Altaria, Toxicroak, Bastiodon, all can beat the Umbreon. Umbreon didn't seem great, but you know what? Like a worse player might have just ran Umbreon. So in that moment, you have to go, oh, geez, okay, game 1 was weird. They brought some weird Pokemon. I'm going to have to reevaluate things. So that's kind of the awkward thing. But against good players, they tend to pick the statistically likely best stuff. Or if their team is like overwhelmingly weak to one of your picks, like if one of my picks is good against like 4 of theirs, then they'll actually pick the 2 things that are good against that, right? Like if I beat 4, then they're going to bring the 2 I don't beat. And so I already know 2 out of 3 of their picks. Already, right away. I know. They're like, oh, they're going to respect that pick? So those 2 are coming for sure. And so I'm just not even going to bring that pick at all because it's weak against those 2. I'm just going to bring stuff that's good against those 2. And I'm not going to bring the guy that's actually like overwhelmingly strong. So like another strategy that Nerd could use is just not bring Azumarill. It's weird, but like I may just totally not expect that. Like I might just completely be playing around. Like that Meganium on game 3 where I just tossed a Azumarill save switch. I may not have if he save switched into something else, like a Metacham or something, I might just be like, my Bastiodon can't stay in here. Let me switch into my into my Meganium and then get ice punched a whole bunch, or like, you know, at that point it's kind of awkward. And then maybe the Azumarill, like I'd probably just switch in the Azumarill, but like, you know what I mean? Like there are times where you can leave the best thing on the bench and actually come out with better results because your opponent's over preparing for that and they're causing weaknesses somewhere else. It's like if they want to hold up their shield to block because they know like the right side of their armor is like really lightweight for mobility in combat or something. I don't know, I'm using a medieval analogy. Then they're going to want to shield their right side more favorably. So then if you're normally left-handed, you might actually have a hard time fighting them. So then but if you're ambidextrous and you practice with your right, then you can just switch to your whatever, to this side and attack them over here, right? So that's all I'm saying. Anyways, super good games. I had a lot of fun just kind of sitting around and thinking of like how that might work. And I just really, really wanted to share it. And hopefully that thought process helps you out more. I know this was a long video, so like, you're awesome if you're still here. And sorry if I sound a little plugged up. I'm kind of sick right now. But yeah, if you like the video, throw down a like. If you want more videos like this I certainly can. Like, I certainly can get like very, very in depth about stuff, and I will try to do all of my analysis before I even record. That way, I have things already lined up right away, ready to talk about. So, yeah, if you dig it, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. I'll be here, and see you guys later.